his own goal. He can dribble past 3 or 4 players.
In Isak, they've got the best number 9 in the Premier League at the moment for me.
£63 million, great recruitment.
Absolutely incredible.
He's just a really intelligent number 9. He knows the profile of his wingers. He knows my strengths. He knows where I like to receive the ball. He then knows what my actions are.
Gordon, right wing cross into Isak. Brilliant header up high and powers it beyond David Raya.
I think when you're on the run of goal-scoring games that he is, I think you go in with a different viewpoint than if you're not. I think the team, most importantly, is creating for him as well. I don't think this is him doing it on his own. I think the team's playing in a really good way that's creating chances not just for Alex but for other players as well. We're seeing goals come from different aspects of the team.
Eddie Howe there talking about Alexander Isak, and before Eddie you heard from Isak's teammate Jacob Murphy, from Darren Ambrose on TalkSport, and Gabby Agbon-Lahore as well, all talking about Alexander Isak. 9 Premier League goals since the start of December. And remember when they signed him from Real Sociedad for what, £60 million? People were raising eyebrows, asking all sorts of questions. How much? And they thought it was typical of the new, very wealthy Saudi owners splashing money on players who aren't really worth that. Well, here's the thing, Martin Keown. Alexander Isak, if you wanted to buy him, just say, it's not you, right, it's not going to happen. But in this window, if you wanted to buy him from Newcastle, how much would he cost now?
Goodness, over 100 million probably.
Easily, yeah.
He just glides across the pitch. I mean, to be honest, you were just saying that. I thought he was a good player. He was tearing things up in Spain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, so was he the second highest goal scorer there when he left? So, you know, he was already, making an impression. But I think now he's got a bit between his teeth. He seems more aggressive, more determined. There was a few injuries here and there. You couldn't rely upon him to be there every week. And Callum Wilson is another player that's been out for periods. So it's frustrating for Eddie Howe, but he's got the best out of him now, and he's really outstanding.
Oh, he is, absolutely. And you got to remember, they actually had him 2 years ago when they got to the Carabao Cup final. And that was a period in Newcastle's recent history where he was alternating. Callum Wilson one week, Alexander Isak the next week, and nobody knew could they play together, which one was best. Isak was left on the bench for the final, came on for the second half. Newcastle lost 2-0 to Manchester United. Now he's the undisputed striker in the first team, no question about it. We're just watching here at the Emirates. The Arsenal fans still taking their seats. Newcastle fans away to our right. Normally the away fans at the Emirates are in a corner opposite us. They're filling up that whole bottom tier, that whole end, and they are waving black and white scarves. It is quite a sight, Martin, isn't it?
It is. I mean, Newcastle is one of the great hotbeds of football, isn't it, in this country? And, I virtually came into the game watching the FA Cup final 1974, Newcastle against Liverpool, and they got blown away. It was a final between McDonald and Kevin Keegan, and it really captured my imagination, and they just love their football. I mean, the cup competitions could provide you with that opportunity to see away fans in virtually 10% of the ground. It's as many as I've seen here at the Emirates, and it's quite a sight. They're swinging their scarves, they're making themselves known, and that really is. I mean, Arsenal hopefully get the same indulgence of all those away fans up there, St James's, on the 5th of February for the return leg. But yeah, this is a bit special, and I can feel the atmosphere already just starting to heat up here.
6,000 tsunami fans away to our right. It is one of the beauties of cup competitions. We'll see it in the FA Cup this weekend as well. Loads of third round ties covered for you on TalkSport, but away fans get a proper allocation. And the great thing about the second leg is Arsenal fans won't be stuck up in the gods just there. There will be a big presence of Arsenal fans for the away leg. Believe it or not, Martin, I've actually been with Arsenal fans in that away end for a Premier League game with Mrs. D, who's an Arsenal fan. I was in that away end. They won 1-0. It was at Christmas time a few years ago. It's hard to make yourselves heard up there as the Geordie flags are flying again, the Geordie scarves are waving again, and as the teams take to the field and the pyro flies into the air on the far side here at the Emirates. We've got football every night this week on TalkSport. Friday night, FA Cup third round, Villa West Ham. Thursday night, FA Cup Everton against Peterborough. Two sides in terrible form. I'll be there for TalkSport for what could be the last ever, hopefully, FA Cup tie at Goodison Park. Tomorrow night, Spurs Liverpool live on TalkSport Carabao Cup semi-final first leg, and the first semi is tonight here at the Emirates. Two sides bang in form, and they know they're on the brink of a Wembley final. Arsenal take on Newcastle. Here's your commentary team: former England defender Martin Keown, alongside TalkSport's Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian, and a very good evening to you.
Well, there have been times when the League Cup has been sneeringly regarded as an inconsequential obstacle in the season. Competition to be endured rather than enjoyed. But it could well be laced with significance this season for Liverpool, fighting on 4 fronts. It might conceivably be a crucial piece in an extraordinary campaign. Arsenal haven't won it for more than 30 years and look to add a fresh silver coating to the vast improvement of the Arteta reign. While Spurs and Newcastle have ended the new year eyeing up an overdue end of their respective trophy droughts. And for the majority of the 6,000 Geordies in tonight, that's a lifetime's worth, 56 years and counting. Haven't really been that many near misses during that time either. But having becoming close to winning the Carabao Cup a couple of years ago, they are back in the semis for another tilt. And they've arrived in North London in supreme form after 6 wins in a row. A run that's elevated them back into the thick of the Champions League chase, propelled by the goals of a man much admired in these parts. Isaac, they've already beaten the Gunners once this season, but they've got a dreadful record on this ground. And a repeat of the scoreline from their last visit here would render the tie just about over before the second leg. This is how the two teams line up. Arsenal, Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Lewis Skelly, Ødegaard, Partey and Rice, Martinelli, Havertz and Trossard, and on the bench, Calafiori, Tierney, Kivior, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Marino, Sterling, Jesus and Porter. Newcastle, Dubravka in goal, we think probably for the last time as a Newcastle player. Livramento, Botman, Byrne and Hall, Willock, Tonali and Joelinton, Murphy, Isak and Gordon, with Trippier, Kelly, Target, Longstaff, Lewis Miley, Barnes, Almiron, Asula and Vlachodimos on the bench. Referee tonight, John Brooks, who took charge when the two sides met 8 weeks ago up on Tyneside. He booked 8 that day. Newcastle United in their black and white striped shirts. And they'll kick from right to left, defending the end of the ground that houses the travelling tuna.
Paying for your Showmax is easy. Just choose your preferred payment method from these easy and convenient.
To run the competition for more than 30 years, it's surprised the other has never played. Arsenal and Newcastle eyeing up Wembley and seeking a position of strength ahead of the second leg. John Brooks points to Alexander Isak, gives the signal, and away we go. The first of the first legs in the Carabao Cup semi-finals this year. You'll hear all 4 games and the final here on TalkSport. Newcastle getting the ball forward early with Lewis Hall working it down the left-hand touchline. Joelinton chasing. Saliba's across the cover and he's cleverly played it off the Brazilian and out of play for an Arsenal throw. We'll get the first thoughts of Martin Keown, Arsenal legend, very shortly. First of all, though, deadlock broken in that big game at the top of League One with Ian Abrahams.
Quarter of an hour gone, Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1. Herbie Kane firing home from a corner on the far side. 4th place, Huddersfield ahead. Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1.
Huddersfield 1 defeat in 12, Wickham 2 defeats in 22. Nice first blood to the visitors there. Ball out of play here for a throw that Newcastle will take on halfway. Lewis Hall across to take it. Martin, very good evening to you again. What are you expecting tonight? You talked about Newcastle being quite canny tonight, keeping bodies behind the ball and setting up relatively defensively.
What I expect to see, expecting to see Arsenal with a lot of the ball. That's not quite happening at the moment. And then Newcastle sitting deep and then trying to get that counter-attack. We know Isak at his pace. Tonali will probably set them on their way with some really good passes. He's been brilliant since he played in that central position. So let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, it's really made the difference for Newcastle United, with Tonali playing as the deepest of the 3 in midfield, and it gives Bruno Guimaraes a little bit more licence ahead of him. He's out suspended tonight, Willock in that role. It means that Tonali just offers that little bit more defensive cover in front of the back 4 as well.
He does, he goes deep, but look how high Joelinton goes and Willock. That's quite tricky. They get in behind that Arsenal midfield and it comes on. The responsibility then is for the back 4 to deal with that, and they've already got Isak up there.
Newcastle punting it long, goes all the way through to David Raya, who will pick it up away to our left-hand side. He's got previous experience in the semi-finals of this competition back in his Brentford days. The ball is played forward, but not particularly effectively. Seized upon by Livramento for Newcastle. Now Isak will work into his right-hand side. Cross-come shot comes in from Murphy. That's cleared. Sliding challenge then from Botman. The referees acknowledged that it was a foul, but Arsenal have possession. And Rice is allowed to play on. He'll work it down to this near touchline, the Arsenal right. Timber turns back away from Anthony Gordon, and everybody from Newcastle very quickly back goal side. 2.5 gone 0-0 here on TalkSport.
Yeah, Arsenal getting the ball back there quite fortuitously. They press really well, Newcastle, with this new system. Willett going really high, pinching the ball back. That's a feature of their game. They look much better set up. Good balance to Newcastle's play.
Now in great form as a result of it. 6 wins in a row, 3 consecutive wins away from home, and it was the positional change and the victory against Arsenal really was the catalyst for that change. They've been in lousy form before that. They won 7 out of 12. Isak now right-hand side of the penalty area. Turns, plays it back for Joelinton, who did his best to hit the upper tier with that shot. Skies it way over the bar, but a really good half chance for Newcastle.
Yeah, and Isak makes a really good run. Comes to feet, then spins in behind. And Saliba, you see him in that 1v1 situation. He lays it off for Joelinton. A little bit like Maguire, wasn't it? But we saw the other night, ball bouncing towards him and he skies it over. Good opportunity for Newcastle.
Raya takes the goal kick, gets it forward towards Havertz. Ødegaard poking it away from Gordon. And then played forward down the Arsenal right-hand side by Timber into the feet of Ødegaard. But he had Joelinton right behind him immediately. Ødegaard then ends up on the deck and sends an accusatory glance at anybody in black and white. Joelinton, the picture of innocence. The play continues with Newcastle working the ball back to Dubravka, who will drive it forward, right-footed, but over the head of Gordon. And how to play for a throw to Arsenal. We played the opening 4 minutes. It's a decent tempo. Good possession for Arsenal in these early stages. Newcastle with the one chance so far, and it's still 0-0. Marty Keown.
Yeah, interesting. Gordon does some really good work as well when he's out of possession, tucks inside. Everyone knows their roles and responsibilities in this Newcastle team.
Arsenal work the ball out towards the left, where cross comes in. Havertz was the target. Joelinton with a couple of headers away. Gordon with a third, and that steers it outside of the Newcastle penalty area. Ødegaard with a little reverse ball. Timber clipping it in deep towards the far post, where Livramento, the covering defender, wasn't taking any chances, and he heads it into the Newcastle fans and out for the first Arsenal corner of the night.
Timber back in the team after suspension at the weekend. Martinelli there switches off for me. I think he should be coming in at that back post. Livramento in for Trippier tonight. He just heads that one away. Another opportunity from a set piece from Arsenal.
And the left wing set pieces are the ones that are the more potent. Now the Declan Rice is back fully fit and in the team again. So it's the usual Arsenal setup of 4 very deep of the far post.
Just the referee stopping the play here because Tonali is in a rugby scrum with Saliba. And this is what's happening now, is what's acceptable in these situations, because everyone knows what Arsenal are doing. They've got 4 players who are outside the 6-yard box, way away from the goal, and they will sweep right across. And then Saliba's in the middle, and it's like, how tightly can you mark these guys?
Rice raises his left arm above his head and now clips it in, right-footed in swing. It's got the near post flip.
And I don't think there's quite enough on this ball from Declan Rice. It just falls a little bit short. It's not even. It has to be within the width for the goal for that to be headed towards the goal, and he's trying to flick it, put it over the bar.
Well, we welcome listeners from right across North and Canada on Sirius XM-FC. 0-0 on such an intriguing night here in North London, and another one for you tomorrow as Tottenham face Liverpool in the other semi-final. We got that one for you on Sirius XM and across the mighty TalkSport as well. Lewis Hall was a great turn down by the corner flag. He's got goal side of Trossard. He whips it in, but too low and flat towards the near post. Saliba was there just to duck his head in and head it away. Newcastle clear it out as far as Gordon. Joelinton picks it up, and the Brazilian has got Hall ahead of him. He's got Tonali slightly behind him, and he's played it back for the Milanese midfielder. Now work back to Joelinton again to the feet of Gordon. One-touch football of good quality from Newcastle here as they work the ball from the left out of the right. Botman down to the Geordie's right-hand side again, Livramento involved. He will make his way forward with Murphy on the overlap. He's gone for the cross himself. Gordon peels back at the far post. Looping header. Didn't get the power that he needed. Easily claimed by David Ryan.
No, but this is really good from Newcastle, and the way that they're fluid, the way that they move from position to position. They're getting behind that Arsenal midfield. If I'm in that back four, I'm saying, look, guys, stay closer to me because there's too much space. And they're exploiting it. They know exactly what to do, and I like the wide players. They tuck in as well to join in, and then the width comes from the fullbacks, and it's all out attack from Newcastle when they get the ball. Not what I expected tonight.
Well, 15 yards outside their own penalty area as they pick up possession. Sven Botman, who only came back into the Newcastle team at the weekend. He's had 10 months out because of a knee problem. Got through almost exactly 90 minutes at the weekend. And starting again tonight in a continued absence of Cher. And that's a blatant push on Trossard by Gordon right in front of the assistant referee on this near touchline. And another set piece to Arsenal, which will be taken only about 2-3 feet in from the right-hand side. It's almost exactly level with the edge of the penalty area. And Martin Ødegaard will just come across to take it.
Lack of discipline there, as well as Gordon plays. He's got to just run back and do his job, but he pushes him over, Trossard. It's almost a corner. He's so high up the pitch.
Ødegaard very deliberately placing the ball down, just slightly away from the spray that John Brooks, the referee, put down, but legitimately so. He hasn't taken an advantage by putting the ball down very slightly differently. So it's an Ødegaard in swinger, and it's hitting towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Good covering header from Lewis Hall, gets it away. Martinelli back through a crowd, not through enough of them. Then the second shot comes in. Havertz trying to bundle it in, and Dubravka very gratefully is able to pounce on the ball. Good defending in there from Hall as well, but that's Arsenal's best moment so far.
Yeah, flurry of shots are getting the ball into the box. It's not dealt with, not cleared. I think it's Martinelli first and then Saliba, and there's good defending there just in front of Dubravka to clear that one away.
Newcastle have won both of the semi-finals that they played in before in this competition. The first back in 1976, where they saw off Spurs, lost the first leg in North London then, that came good with goals from Gowling, Keeley and Nolte at St James's to get through to the final that they lost to Dennis Stewart and Manchester City. And then a couple of years ago they beat Southampton away and then at home to get through the final against Manchester United, which they lost. Arsenal, on the other hand, have won it twice, but they lost their last semi-final to Liverpool 3 years ago, where it looks as though they'd laid a really good foundation in the first leg at Anfield, drew there, and then came back and lost to a Diogo Jota-inspired Liverpool that night by 2-0 here. Now given away sloppily by Raya on the edge of the penalty area. Murphy will be able to pick it up. First time ball from Livramento, clipped back by Tonali, but he didn't get the movement he was expecting. I think I just anticipated that Livramento was going to be making a run around the back of Miles Lewis-Skelly, and it goes out of play for a goal kick, much to the relief of David Raya.
Yeah, and what he's saying, he's got his hands in the air to say, acknowledging that. But it's naive in the extreme, because they're pushing so many players up when they press. I mean, look at it now. They're all parked on the edge of the box. They're basically saying you're going to have to hit this long. It's 3v3 at the back. Or 4v4 now. Ødegaard's gone up front. And the best thing is just to hit it long, which they've done.
And Dan Burn wins it in the air, heads it away. Comes off Tonali and then goes out for an Arsenal throw on halfway, which they'll take on the far touchline, still 0-0.
Eddie Howe does not want Arsenal to develop the play through the compartments of the team. He's saying, if you're going to, you play it there, we'll take it off you. And they've done that twice already, so they've had to hit it long. It's going to be interesting to see if they can still try and play out from the back.
1-0 to Newcastle when the sides met a couple of months ago. They've got a good record at home to Arsenal. They've got a really poor record here. In the last 13 visits here, they've lost 12, Newcastle. And Martinelli, left-hand side of the penalty area, gets it inside the 6-yard box. Burn was there, just a study of concentration, watching the run of Trossard and stepping up at the right time to flick it away for another corner.
Yeah, and that's their weakness, Newcastle. You can't really see a whole lot of pace in that back line. Martinelli, though, needs to be freer. He just needs to express himself, knock it out. In the end, they managed to block his cross Another corner for Arsenal, and it's Rice again. We know what a good exponent he is in this area. He was given this duty after the Dubai trip last season, mid-season. Out comes the defensive coach, or the set-piece coach.
Nicholas Jove waiting in that technical area and watching as Rice swings this one deeper, and it's headed over the bar by Timber. Great chance for Arsenal. Just came to him a little high, and he was on his way down by the time it got to him, and he couldn't keep his effort down. It's flown 2 or 3 feet over the bar.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a much better ball, isn't it? And he hasn't quite got the inches. Timber, a little bit smaller than some of these other 6'4" players. It's just over the back of him a little bit, and he's not able to get it on target.
Just got the 1 goal for Arsenal so far, which came against Manchester United here. Another player who's had terrible luck with injuries since becoming an Arsenal player, but fully fit these days and a real asset. Byrne playing it out towards Hall. Newcastle will play out from the back here. Ball forward towards Isak is easily dealt with. They just headed away by Saliba. And Isak gets it again, the next phase of play, and he's trying to release Gordon, who's got the run on Timber for a moment. He'll pick it up inside the area, cuts it onto his right foot, can't get a shot in, lays it back instead towards Murphy. Murphy's ball goes behind Tonali, but it's picked up by Livramento. He's now inside the penalty area as well. Arsenal getting bodies back very quickly. When Livramento picked up possession, only Havertz was outside the Arsenal penalty area, and the Gunners have been able to force Newcastle back to halfway.
Yeah, they've got everyone back behind the ball, but Gordon was really impressive there. It was like a greyhound, the way that he runs forward, and Timber just managed to get goal side to stop it. This is really intriguing, actually, because, you know, it's interesting. Newcastle did try and play out from the back, and Arsenal robbed it off them, and then suddenly they broke with numbers. Newcastle, we haven't seen that too many times.
Entertaining start, 14 minutes gone, 0-0 here on TalkSport with Lewis Skelly. And the ball out towards Martinelli on the far touchline, which is the Arsenal left. Lewis Skelly getting it again.
Almost playing as a fullback, Murphy. For me, he's having his best ever season in a Newcastle shirt. Another good run there from Isak.
Murphy's rolled it in to his path on the edge of the penalty area, and he's got the better of Saliba. He's got Gordon arriving, pulled back just behind Gordon, coming onto his Lewis Hall, and he's cleared from in front of Raya by Gabriel. Now to Tonali, and he blazes over the bar.
Well, you don't see many people get the other side of Saliba, and that's happened tonight. Isak, he gets a little bit too tight. They're out on the edge of the box. He just knocks it out of his feet. He just invites him on, and he pulls it back, and there's nobody coming onto it until the fullback races forward, and then Arsenal don't really clear it, and it's a sloppy clearance. Tonali coming onto it really should be hitting the target from there.
Tomorrow night, we got the first leg of the other semi-final. Spurs against Liverpool. Sam Matterface alongside Scott Minto. Adrian in the chair again. It's a 7 o'clock build-up ahead of an 8 p.m. start tomorrow night. And then the FA Cup starts the night after that. The Young Family Derby, Everton against Peterborough at Goodison Thursday night. Friday, it's Villa against West Ham. Both of these teams in action in the FA Cup on Sunday, and we've got both games for you. Newcastle's match at home to Bromley. TalkSport 2 with a 3 o'clock kickoff. And here on TalkSport at the same time, you won't hear it anywhere else on national radio, Arsenal against Manchester United. Coming up your way on Sunday. Tottenham's trip to Tamworth Sunday lunchtime as well. We've got it all covered for you. 0-0 tonight, 16 gone in the League Cup semi-final first leg. And Martinelli's in possession in the midfield. He's played it down towards Leandro Trossard. Trossard clipping it in deep towards the far post. It sails over Havertz, an innocuous ball in, and drifts away down towards the corner flag for a goal kick.
Yeah, Trossard there needs to be better in possession, but we talked about what's my expectation of this game, and we thought about it as a counter-attacking game, but Newcastle, they want to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal, and they're playing these raking balls. Tonali will hit these wide players, and they're just whipping balls into the box. Good variation from Newcastle's play.
Byrne down towards Hall. He's had a fine season, which has brought international recognition as well. And he's won a goal kick by playing it forward. It's come back off Trossard, ricochet behind him, but he wasn't happy with the movement of Anthony Gordon, and maybe Isak as well. I think he was expecting a few more options as he looked up and tried to play down the left-hand side. Newcastle fans in fine voice away to our right. Martin Dubravka with the ball in his hand, but everybody stopped just for a moment. And now John Brooks, the referee, tells Dubravka he can get on with it.
There's something in Joe Linton's eye. Well, it's not a fly. It might well be sweat. But anyway, the referee stopped the game so that he can... he's OK now, we're continuing. And they're just going to kick it along here, Newcastle.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of contact lens trouble for Joe Linton, who goes up for this long ball from Dubravka. Wins the seconds from Trossard, but it will drift out of play for a throw. That'll be taken on the Arsenal right by Lewis Skelly. But talked about the lousy record Newcastle have got here, 12 defeats in 13 visits. They got a 0-0 draw here a couple of years ago. That's the one exception, the last win here back in 2010 when Andy Carroll scored the only goal of the game. And in this competition, the record's even worse. They've never even scored a goal against Arsenal in the League Cup.
Just fascinated here, Jim. Sorry. I know statistics, but I can't help but talk about what's in front of me. They're going man for man all over the pitch, Newcastle. You get a throw in, you can't breathe, you can't move. They're basically saying, I mean, look, this works to a stage. You're down to your weakest link, though, when you do that. There'll be somebody out there on that Newcastle pitch who isn't probably, and I'm looking at their two centre-halves, going to be OK in that area, you know. But have Arsenal got enough pace, though, in the final third without Saka available tonight? It's a fascinating game. It's like a game of chess here. Football chess.
Gabriel's got it, goes back for Saliba. And Saliba on the edge of the centre circle, down for Jurrien Timber. Forward to Thomas Partey, who played a right back at the weekend, but back in his more favoured central midfield role today. And Saliba to Lewis Skelly coming into the centre of midfield from left back. And now Partey's got it once more. Now Havertz sees the cue to make a run forward down the right-hand side. Ødegaard picks it up. He will work it just past Declan Rice over towards the far side, where a lunging challenge comes in. The ball was played, then Martinelli got caught, and both players are down over on that far touchline. Livramento, I think, has come off the worst of the two.
Well, the ball was played by Ødegaard into two Arsenal players, and actually you weren't really certain of who the ball was for. And Livramento thinks, you know what, I'm going to get my foot in here. And then Martinelli suddenly reacts a little bit late. I think Rice leaves it. And, well, pick the bones out of that, because I think Livramento, well, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Martinelli made a genuine attempt to go for the ball, but it had gone. And his momentum took him through, and he came down with the studs of his right boot just on near the left kneecap of Tino Livramento. But the England international's back on his feet. He's OK. Martinelli's back up as well. Neither of them needs any treatment. And Eddie Howe is out gesticulating on the edge of the technical area.
Well, he's also got pen and paper to hand, and he probably needs it with the amount of tactics that he's deployed here tonight. They've been very good at what they do. Pressing really high, not giving Arsenal any chance to build up those attacks.
Rice works it to his right-hand side for Jurrien Timber. Timber coming forward, 20 yards, 30 yards inside Newcastle territory. Now he goes out towards Trossard. Clever little flick from Ødegaard. Didn't get as far as Havertz. It'll come back Trossard's way, though. Right-hand side of the penalty area. Try to work it in the box, and it didn't get there, but it's the next best thing. It's hit Willock and goes out of play for another corner, the first on the Arsenal right.
That was a classic where Arsenal are actually just playing for a corner because there was nobody in the box. Trossard looks up and thinks, you know what? Best bet here, let's just play it off somebody and get the boys up from the back. Another corner for Arsenal. Ødegaard's taking it. Of course, no Saka from this side. It's going to be all about quality. Delivery here is really important. They take their time on these as well. I think this is all part of the drama. And if you're marking in the box, you start to think, you get a bit nervous. Do you know? Get a bit tetchy. And you want that ball delivered. You don't want to be thinking about this too long if you're defending it.
Only now does Ødegaard approach it, swing it in. Dubravka comes out, punches it clear, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Newcastle push outside the box, but Lewis Skelly's got it, threads it through. Timber stretch, couldn't quite bring it into his stripes. The right pass, couldn't quite get the execution right. It's out for a goal kick.
Skelly had a little moment there. Dubravka punches it away. I don't think there's enough on it, and it looked like Skelly was going to lose the ball, and suddenly swivels brilliantly and goes on it, and then Timber's a little bit on his heels. Maybe the pass isn't just right. There was an opportunity there.
Yeah, he's done well, Lewis Skelly. It's his sixth start of the season for Arsenal. He's featured in 3 of the last 5 league games. He's played in all of the ties in this cup run. Newcastle put under pressure with the press inside their own penalty area. Trossard works it in, hits Joelinton, and then Partey will pick it up and play forward towards Gabriel. Back for Thomas Partey again. And both sides looking susceptible to the pressing skills of the other when they try and play out from the back.
Well, they're prepared to play out from the back, and you think sometimes it's got to go long. Livramento there, giving the ball away cheaply, and then suddenly it's almost 5 minutes then of pressure, isn't it, when Arsenal get the ball back.
Partey to Gabriel, forward to Declan Rice, 0-0. Exactly midway through the first half here on alongside me tonight. It's the ball over on the... And Newcastle win their first over on the... And Newcastle win their first corner of the night. And Willock is saying corner of the night. And Willock is saying, and Isak is saying to the referee as well. And Isak is saying to the referee as well, how did you not see the challenge on the edge of the box? Well, how did you not see the challenge on the edge of the box?
Well, great play, you have to say, from Newcastle. Gordon gets on it, and they look to switch it. Goes into the front player first. Murphy's doing a real shift defensively, charging down that right-hand side. Just having a look, there was a little tug actually on Isak in the middle of the box there. I don't think it's in the box. Whether or not they'll feel something that looks like is that Trossard who pulls him back? Anyway, we haven't heard from VAR on that one, so we assume that they're happy with it. Well, it was in the deep. I think that was the problem as far as Newcastle were concerned. Had it been in the penalty area, they'd have been very interested with that. It's not been very interested with that. It's not a red card offence. It's not in the box. So play will continue with a Newcastle corner. Their first, left-footed in towards the near post. It's a poor one. It's very easily headed away by Rice. I think there was some ironic cheers there because Newcastle went rushing to take down. I think it was an Arsenal player booked at the weekend for time wasting, a judge to have taken too long to take a corner. The generational decision there. Well, Jim, they haven't taken anything like as long as Arsenal have taken on their corners tonight because they had to wait for the referee to give them permission there before that corner could be taken. I don't know that they really could have taken it any quicker than they did. The ball goes back for Botman. Maybe there's a misinterpretation from me there. A generational misinterpretation. The ball goes back for Dubravka, who will clear it right-footed. High ball forward. And easily brought down at the back by the Gunners with Gabriel knocking it across the edge of his own penalty area for Saliba, who will then play it back out towards the Arsenal left. Rice nodding it down. Lewis Skelly's got it. It's so neat and tidy in possession, and just pirouettes away from Murphy and lays it back. And Newcastle will think about the press again as Raya plays it through his penalty area. That piqued the interest of Isak, who chased after it. And now Lewis Skelly with his back to the direction of play, trying to play out of the boxes. Survived that. He's been brought down by Tonali. He didn't succumb to the pressure at all. It was real something or nothing pass into him, but he did well to deal with it. No, and you talk about players being brave, putting their foot in, but he's brave there in possession. They're not getting anywhere near him there. He's wriggled out of that one. Yeah, it was excellent play by Miles Lewis. That's about years of learning, though, isn't it, in the academy? You know, you keep playing, son. You trying to get out of there. Don't worry about it. We'll take the responsibility. And he's now got that balance of when to deliver the ball and when to run with it. Do you know, just comparing the two teams and you look at it and you think, OK, look, Arsenal, is this a night where you look at all the pace that they've got at the top of the team for Newcastle and you think, OK, Arsenal would love a little bit of that, wouldn't they? Isak particularly. Hall chests it down, works it forward towards Joelinton. And it goes out of play for an Arsenal throw. Now, Joelinton wasn't happy about 20 seconds before that. I think something had gone slightly awry with Newcastle's marking because Hall and Joelinton and then Gordon were all in animated conversation about who exactly was supposed to be picking up who. No harm done from a Newcastle perspective, and that was pretty blatant from Joelinton, just shoving Ødegaard to the ground as he received the throw, and it's a free kick to Arsenal on halfway. 0-0. Yeah, Joelinton does a really good job. Eddie Howe, I mean, what about the improvement that he's shown? I mean, under Bruce, he didn't seem to be able to hit a barn door. They put him into midfield, and he gets up and down brilliantly in that midfield. It's perfect for him, isn't it? Just two. They have the sitter, Tonali, and then either side is either Bruno or tonight Willock. And I'm impressed with Willock. He's shown some really good pace in there as well. Good addition to their team tonight. Bruno out, but you're not really missing him here. Yeah, there were plenty of times at the beginning of his Newcastle career that not too many Toon Army fans would have wanted Joelinton to play 200 games for the club, but he's passed that milestone now and they love him.
Here's Trossard. Coming into a more central area. Arsenal fan in front of us urges Gabriel to shoot, and he obliges from nearly 30 yards out. He just dragged it wide of the near post. Now to play for a goal kick.
Yeah, maybe Arsenal losing a little bit of patience there, not really creating too much. Gabriel, I mean, they're so high up the pitch. The Arsenal central defender is on the edge of the box there. Perhaps it would have been better just passing that simple.
Gabriel has been amongst the goals this season, but all as part of Arsenal's favourite MO of attacking set pieces. 3 Premier League goals, all of them away from home. Newcastle restart play with a long goal kick again, and didn't fancy trying to play through the Arsenal press that time. Gabriel ends up hooking it over his own shoulder. Joelinton heads the ball down in the midfield. Willett can't get away from Rice. Picked up by Ødegaard, who goes back for Saliba. Frenchman almost sold Trossard short on this near touchline. He just gave Gordon more of a chance than perhaps he might have had. He's worked it back to his goalkeeper. Raya takes a touch, gets it onto his left, fires it away from the edge of the 6-yard box under pressure from Isak. Newcastle win the seconds on halfway. Work it forward towards Willett. He lost out to Rice. And then Trossard helps it round the corner. And Martinelli's pace has got him goal side of Botman. And he's hit the post. Dubravka came out, did what he could to narrow the angle, but had to hold his breath. His prayers were answered. Martin, you talked about the lack of pace in that Newcastle back line, and it was brutally exposed there.
It certainly was, and Martinelli, the one player to do it, and you think he's done everything right. And he's almost enjoying. I've spoke to him and talked about enjoying those moments, and he just hits it so true. It comes off the post like a balloon, doesn't it? It just bangs off the post. I mean, honestly, it was an unbelievable effort from him, but you feel he should be burying that. There's the chances that Arsenal should be taking.
Hasn't scored a goal in this competition since he netted twice in that unbelievable 5-5 draw between Arsenal and Liverpool at Anfield a few years back. And he will feel that he should have broken a 5-year League Cup goal drought there. And Eddie Howe looks disconsolate again, as Arsenal will bring the ball forward once more. Down the left this time with Martinelli. Faced up by Botman, he's able to turn away. Lays it out to the left-hand side. Lewis Skelly getting it in. Trossard with a shot. And maybe a second, he sets it up for Ødegaard, who cuts across it and fires over the bar. Took a little nick on its way through. That helped it gather height, and it's out of play for another corner.
Yeah, Arsenal got their opponent rocking here. Just Martinelli this time on that left-hand side. Ball comes across the box. Trossard swings at it, lays it edge of the box, and then really good defending. I mean, it's Willock who gets in the way of that. He gets a block on it. Ødegaard coming onto it just on the edge of the box. Best period of the game for Arsenal right now. Martinelli.
Saliba's way. It doesn't. Havertz with a shot that is cleared by a diving Newcastle player right in front of him. And the loose ball ricochets back outside the box. It's all Arsenal the last 4 or 5 minutes. They've now got a throw 10 yards from the corner flag. And Newcastle are on the ropes.
Well, someone fired Dubravka out of a cannon there. He missed the ball completely. And it's like a pinball machine. And Arsenal, they just somehow managed to get bodies in the way. It's inspired from Newcastle. So dangerous, Arsenal, from set plays.
Rice goes back for William Saliba. Timber plays it down towards Leandro Trossard, and the Belgian comes in off the right flank, works it back for Ødegaard. Exchange of passes between him and Saliba. Back inside the centre circle for Lewis Skelly. Forward from him to Rice. Over on the left-hand touchline is Martinelli. Martinelli playing on the right, Trossard. Martinelli on the left, I beg your pardon. Trossard on the right, with Kai Havertz going through the middle, although there is a real fluidity about those front three. Long diagonal now in towards Trossard. Well claimed, easily claimed by Dubravka. Hands above his head, the Slovakian making the catch, and he'll bowl it out to Tino Livramento. Newcastle just wanting an opportunity really to gather their thoughts and get some breath back in the lungs, because the last 5 or 6 minutes they've been doing an awful lot of chasing. Hall in the left back position. He gets it away from Trossard and now has a throw. There's again a disconsolate reaction from looking at Isak. Not happy with the fact that Isak didn't really make a movement for him, and Hall forced to do it himself in the left back position. It's gone out of play for a throw.
I think the philosophy is right though. Try and pass. If you go forward too soon, and they've had to hit a few things from the keeper, it comes straight back. So they just need to generate a few passes. You've just got to throw in here. Just give them a bit more time. Arsenal give the ball away cheaply here.
And Willock has got it and plays it down towards Alexander Isak. And Isak will make his way forward towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area and reverses it to Gordon, who would have been offside.
Well,
so
he thought he was, but I don't think he was. He's just binned it. The Arsenal defence is a little bit deep for me at times, and Isak comes off to receive it, and the rest of the defence doesn't move up with him. And that leaves a lot of holes. Just looking at a replay here, I think it was a back heel from Timber. And then Havertz tries to hit one, and really good defending in there. Might have been Botman who manages to get, yes, I think he hits him in the face.
Raya launches it forward. Havertz attacks it. Ball goes up in the air. Hall guides it back to his goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka, who has only conceded twice in his 7 Newcastle games this season. We are expecting this will be his last, with plenty of talk about a move to Saudi Arabia imminent, which Eddie Howe didn't deny. He wasn't drawn on it in his pre-match press conference, but he didn't do anything to play it down. Newcastle are home to Bromley Sunday afternoon. It is live on TalkSport 2, as I mentioned earlier. I expect the Vlachodimos will be in goal for that, and they hope that Nick Pope will be back following that. And they've got Wolves and Bournemouth at home. The next 2 Premier League games have Newcastle. 0-0 here, somehow, with 11 minutes to go to half-time.
I like the way that Newcastle at times goes centrally, and the central player, whether it be a midfield player, comes down the line to receive it, and it pulls a lot of defenders out. And then there's opportunities to get in behind. Something Arsenal don't do in their build-up. They never really go into the front player first and build from there, where Newcastle do.
Botman goes back for Dan Burn. Ball just tracing a path through the centre circle. Isak came to meet it, dropped in again. He brought Saliba with him, but he couldn't get the touch to do anything constructive with it. And Gabriel's going to be able to bring it away. 15 yards outside his penalty area. It goes back to David Raya. Half-time whistle has gone in the big game at the top of League One. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1. The moment that mattered on quarter of an hour. Sumptuous volley from Herbie Kane, almost on the edge of the area from a corner to give Huddersfield the half-time lead here. Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1.
No, thank you, Moose. Handball by Rice is the verdict. From referee John Brooks. It wasn't one that he agreed with. And Newcastle taking the free kick quickly. Tonali trying to get it forward for Isak's run on the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal can mop up though with Timber, faced up by Gordon, and very cleverly just nudging the ball towards Saliba. And now Thomas Partey, in receiving it, has got much more time and space in the heart of the midfield to get Arsenal on the front foot again with Lewis Skelly. 10 to go to half-time. It's Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 0. Here's Arsenal legend Martin Keown.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more from Havertz. Been out ill for a couple of games, not seeing much of him. Don't underestimate him. He's covered more distance than any Arsenal player this season. Won more duels. That's on the deck and in the air. But today, I haven't really seen him get into this game yet. Maybe he's going to be the match winner, though. Arsenal going long again.
With Raya trying to wriggle his way past Hall, who kept his eye on the ball and brought it down, and then put under pressure by Ødegaard and still Trossard, and he's won a free kick. I think it was probably Trossard who got him, and it's a free kick that Newcastle will take. They'll be in no hurry to take it. The ball thrown to Burn. Burn picked it up and threw it back to his goalkeeper, who has now got to walk forward a good 15 yards, ask for clarification as to exactly where the free kick needs to be taken from. Now he spots it down, and it's just a clever bit of match management from Martin Dubravka. Newcastle push forward towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, 50, 60 yards away from where this free kick's been taken from. It's lofted forward into the edge of the box, flicked on dangerously. Isak! 1-0. Smash and grab from Newcastle to a certain extent, just a route one ball forward. The first goal they'd ever scored against Arsenal in the League Cup. And it's a monumental one. The man that cannot stop scoring gets his 50th goal in black and white. One of real significance. Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 1, and it's Alexander Isak again.
Well, do you know what? If you get that ball right into the box, Saliba doesn't win the initial. It's from the goalkeeper. Just a long pass. Straight in, and you're just looking here to see, I think, is it Burn who gets the flick? And it just drops down to Isak, who hits it high off the bar into the back of the Arsenal net. It's a really well-worked goal, but Arsenal got to win that first ball. You don't win it. And then Isak just mops up. Really well-worked, isn't it? I think it's Burn who flicks, or Botman. I think it might be Botman who does it, and it just comes off the heels of Murphy, and then Isak's not going to miss from there.
The winner against Arsenal in November, the breakthrough goal against Arsenal in January in the League Cup semi-final. The scarves being twirled round the heads of the travelling Magpies away to our right, because the Toon lead by a goal to nil. Alexander Isak's 50th in 89 games for Newcastle United, which is some return on the club record £60 million transfer fee. And he's got it again now, making his way forward towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Worked it down towards Gordon. Gordon couldn't work the angle for a shot. Declan Rice sorted out. He's going to be able to flick it away. Comes down towards Havertz. Havertz will turn back into trouble, but he was fouled, and it's a free kick to Arsenal inside their own half on the right-hand side. 6 to go to half-time. 1-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, Arsenal going to have to show some character, personality. This wasn't on their script, but it certainly was on the Newcastle one. A smash and grab approach. But I think Newcastle have acquitted themselves well here tonight. They've played some football. They've got in and around Arsenal when they've tried to develop their play from the back. They've not been able to create enough here for Arsenal tonight.
Well, it was a very clever free kick from Newcastle. Pumped forward long. Byrne winning it, but Murphy just with great awareness of who was where around him, and he took a touch and then flicked it with his right foot just into the path of Isak. A little telltale glance from Isak, cross to the assistant referee, sense that maybe he'd gone too early, but was behind the ball when it was played. And he fires it in off the underside of the bar for his 10th goal in his last 9 games. And his 7th in his last 5 on the road. Here come Arsenal at the other end, trying to flick the ball in towards Rice, but he couldn't make anything of it, and Dubravka will come out and pick it up.
Just saying, Botman, who gets that important flick for the goal, he's just had a great header there. Declan Rice makes a really good run, and he's just trying to get in the back. Botman, he does a lot of really good things on scene. That helps his club.
5 to go to half-time. First of the 4 halves within this 2-legged tie. It's Newcastle on top. And Arsenal will certainly look at the stats and think that they don't deserve to be behind. Newcastle have defended with real resolution. They've ridden their luck with the Martinelli shot that came back off the post. A couple of brave blocks when they've needed them. And they've taken a chance. Timber. Laid back by Saliba to Raya, who will clear right-footed. Should be easy for Hall, who can guide a little cushion header forward towards Joelinton. Trossard picks it up, though, in the midfield for Arsenal, and he'll bring it forward in towards Ødegaard. Ødegaard to Kai Havertz. Havertz out towards Martinelli. Rice making a run ahead of him. Trossard, the most advanced of the Arsenal players, but the Gunners just work it back through the midfield. Martinelli to Partey. Played forward towards Rice. Out towards the Gunners left again. They're trying to get the bodies forward. 4 inside the penalty area as Partey picks it up, and they're edging ever closer to the edge of the Newcastle box. Back it comes from Gabriel to Rice. Out to the left, where Martinelli just tries to invite Ødegaard down the line. Livramento will turn and clear from down by his own corner flag.
I think this has been a problem for Arsenal this season. Teams sit on the edge of the box, and it's just finding that route to goal. Finding the solution. The fullbacks are coming inside where you think maybe they should be a bit more width on either flank.
Rice playing it back. Partey getting himself into a shooting position. Joelinton fouled him and is going to get a yellow card as well, I think. The challenge just on the edge of the D. And Partey did everything he could to stay on his feet and get the shot away, but he couldn't. He genuinely lost his balance.
Well, it's one of those, it's almost an important foul from Joelinton, because if he pulls the trigger there, it's the edge of the box. He's lining that one up, and Joelinton just gets across him. It's definitely a foul. I mean, has he booked him?
Yes, he has booked him.
Yeah, he's had a couple of those.
That's his 8th yellow card of the season. It's a big moment for Arsenal as they look to try and regain parity before half-time. Martin Dubravka is crouching down with his right shoulder against the right-hand post. And he's not happy with the exact positioning of the wall at the moment.
Well, they decided it was 10 yards for themselves, but the referee now has stepped it out and they've had to move back about 4 yards. So it's not a particularly honest wall, but I'd be doing the same myself if I was out there.
Yeah, an observation, not a criticism, I know.
Yeah, and it's a big wall as well, isn't it? So he's going to have to try and get that up and over. It's very central. I'd say it's going to be Ødegaard.
Yeah, he's looking the favourite, hands on hips. Trossard is there as well. Newcastle have got, I think it's Murphy in the draft excluder position behind a 5-man wall. Arsenal have got a little mini 3-man wall of their own, which has got Lewis Hall in behind it if that wall splits. Dubravka, it's fair to say, can see the square root of nothing. Is he going to be able to deal with the shot? Will the shot clear the wall and all the bodies between it and goal? Ødegaard and Trossard. It's Trossard, comes up, leaves it. Ødegaard plays it in, the wall jumps in unison, heads the ball away. Newcastle then push out. Arsenal pick up possession inside the centre circle, was a good opportunity that came to nothing.
Exactly that.
Gordon flicks the ball away. Picked up then on the Arsenal right-hand side by Timber to hand towards Ødegaard. High left-footed ball swung in. Declan Rice making life difficult. Dubravka comes out, saves it with his legs. And then Jolinton gets it away. Great control from Isak over on the far side. Almost able to squeeze the ball through towards Willock, who would have been one-on-one had the ball got to him. It didn't. Newcastle then try and win it back, but Isak has fouled Lewis Skelly. And the Gunners have a free kick in the centre circle.
You can't take your eyes off Isak, can you, when he gets the ball? Is he going to run with it? Is he going to pass? And he nearly puts Willock away there. Arsenal going for it now.
Trailing by a goal to nil. Alexander Isak with the opener for Newcastle 7 minutes ago. We're just about to go into first half stoppage time. Tony Harrington, the fourth official, has the numbers board in his hand and indicates that there will be an extra 2 minutes to be played.
Interesting. I was just saying about Murphy. He is going back all the way as a right back, and that's definitely not doing that on the left hand side. He goes all the way back, and Livramento just comes off the feet with Martinelli. Working really well.
Rice in possession for Arsenal. Played back inside towards Thomas Partey. Now down towards Leandro Trossard on the right-hand side for the Gunners. Midway through the first of the 2 additional minutes. 1-0 to Newcastle. Trossard picking it up down by the corner flag. Gordon's able to get it away from him. Trossard is still down. Not quite writhing in pain, but he's still not back on his feet. Play allowed to continue. Hall flicking it forward. Isak tried to do likewise down the line for Tonali. Ends up winning a throw. And Trossard, still down, is now going to be attended to, firstly by the officials, and then potentially by the Arsenal medical staff as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a replay of that. I think it was Gordon again who comes back, and he's gone right through Trossard in my book. But well, let's have a look. Yeah, well, he's pushed him and he's kicked him, and it wasn't a foul. So you adjudicate on that.
Yeah, he might feel hard done by Trossard, I think it's fair to say. Just given a shove, and then the attempt to play the ball came with the foot in between the 2 feet.
Just having a look at a save there from Dubravka. He comes out, doesn't he, really well, closes the angle down, very brave.
20 seconds to go to half-time, but there's going to be time added on now because of this break in play for Trossard. He didn't receive any treatment and is hobbling his way back forward again. It's flicked on. Jolinton helping it on towards Gordon. Arsenal lay it back to their goalkeeper David Raya, who booms it forward long. He's still struggling, Trossard. In fact, he's down on his haunches again as play continues. Ødegaard heading it back. Trossard now back on his feet and leaning over, hands on his knees. Play continues with Lewis Skelly in possession over on the far touchline for Arsenal. Can bring it forward. Trossard in space. Partey wants to play in the ball and now does. Trossard will receive it, hobbling as he does so, and just lays it back again here. And then Timber, I think, looked for any other option than laying it back for Trossard, and there wasn't one, so he had to play it in. Trossard got rid of it as soon as possible. Half-time whistle goes, and Trossard's first thought is to go over towards the assistant referee, Ian Hussin, and complain about the lack of a free kick. that was given his way, and they're still having quite an animated discussion with the assistant referee explaining the decision. The scoreline needs no explanation. Arsenal with all the pressure, they hit the post. Newcastle with a brilliant goal from Alexander Isak, firing in off the underside of the bar after a rare set piece. And at half-time in the first leg, it's Arsenal 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, meantime, the physio for Arsenal is waiting to treat Trossard. Maybe that should have been his priority, getting treatment so he could possibly come out for the second half. I'm with you, though, Martin. I thought it was a foul. I thought it was an odd one with the lino right on top of it. That he didn't give anything there. Weird.
Yeah, but you know, look, the bigger story. I mean, I've been really impressed with Newcastle. They've come here tonight, set their stall out. You know, we thought they might sit quite deep. They've done that on occasions. But boys, do they look good when they attack. You know, really clever the way that Murphy has pretty well played as a right back for most of this evening, but he'll run forward with endeavour when he can. Isak, you can't take your eye off him. He comes really deep. And then which central defender's got him? You know, he's really good in the air. I thought it was clever, actually. Dubravka plays a long ball. You know, it's like landed the Giants for Arsenal, but they didn't win that first ball. And if you don't win that first ball, you're not secure. Split on nicely. Murphy runs and gets the knockdown. I think it comes off his heels, to be honest, or off his ankle. And then Isak is just, honestly, he's in fantastic form right now, isn't it? Was that 9 goals or 10 goals recently? And he just buries it. And they look good for their money here tonight, Newcastle. We can't say that. Arsenal, of course, could have scored with Martinelli, but didn't. And Newcastle will feel really good about themselves going in at half-time right now.
First half hour was a real tactical battle, and it was enthralling to watch. And I thought there was a dip in energy from Newcastle, and Arsenal started to see some control in the game, but they didn't make it count. You're right about the Martinelli chance, and you're also right in commentary when you talked about him coming centrally. That wasn't the first time he'd done that, but the run he made from a central position and the ball to him, absolutely superb. You were critical of the finishing. Listen, it's target, it's hit the post, it's close. But
it is close. It is close.
Is he expected to bury that, though?
But he's been a player that's been a bit out of sorts in front of goal. He scored recently, and I think it was quite a nice firm effort, wasn't it? But you've got to put a bit of whip on that for that to bend that back in again. He done Botman for pace and burn, and that's an issue for them. Livramento has literally been marking him man for man. That's what I like about that right-hand side. So, you know, Arsenal, I think maybe their best chances will come from Ødegaard if they could get him on the ball a little bit more and get Martinelli to come more centrally to join Havertz, who's really been, I wouldn't say a passenger, we haven't seen too much of him. I mean, if you look at Isak the other end, you can't take your eyes off him. He's so quick, clever with his movement, and I'm a bit concerned about the back line for Arsenal. When they come off to feet, Isak, particularly, everyone stays on the same line. And in our day, that didn't happen. We came up, we pushed up together to condense the space, and we looked for runners from deep. And there's pockets of space to where they can really hurt Arsenal, and they've done that on occasions.
There's not many players will make Saliba look average at times in a game, but that's what's happened in this first half. Alexander Isak is something very, very special. We're seeing why we talked about the transfer fee he would fetch if he was available in this current window, which we think he won't be. And it's easy to see why he would cost that much. He is causing havoc up there, isn't he?
He is. He's the front man. He knows, you know, it's interesting. He plays between the two, so he can occupy 2 central defenders. You can't, if you go too tight to him, he comes off the feet and spins in behind. He's very clever. And when he gets the ball, he can either run at you or he picks a pass really quickly. And then the movement around him is good as well. You know, you've got Willock joining him, bombing forward, Joe Linton, and Gordon wants to get in on the act. He's the sort of player who said, don't forget me. I want to join this party. I want to make something happen.
Oh, wow, madam, you have heard him. And you have heard him. You have heard him. Look, not early morning now. You will come and tell me, my husband, bring this thing, let us cook. Bring this thing, let us cook. Now, it's time for fasting and prayer. No eating. From 6 to 6. 6 to 6. No eating. You. Not early morning now. I will see you near the kitchen. You will be patrolling up and down, looking for tea to drink. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? And you, all the time I'm going to keep crazy. Let me not see you near the kitchen. Let me not see you anywhere close to port until 6 to 6. Yes, everybody has heard it. It is very, very important. Pastor Rydon, please, everybody, let's put heads together and bring this enemy down. Let's go down. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Come and see. Oh my God, come and see. See, what is all this now? See, what I would have been saying. Ever since this fast started, this thing have
think that this is a butterfly that you take for analog to use and break his fasting?
Yes.
Somebody went and eat it. After eating it, he dropped us here. What is going on here? Yeah, analog. Who ate this rice?
I'm not the one.
We are not the one. Yes. We are not the one. Yeah, Mega. Who ate this rice? All I want is the truth and nothing but the truth. Who did this? Oh wow! How can you people tell me that nobody did this? Huh? In this compound? Oh wow! They said that we should do fasting and prayer for 7 days. Our precious pastor said that we should do fasting and prayer for 7 days to attack the enemies that are trying to attack us. You people are doing fasting and prayer. The butterfly that they gave for this small boy to use and break his own fasting. You people went and eat it and
Radio, Bluetooth mode, Bluetooth connecting, please wait. Bluetooth connected.
24 months without full fibre 74 versus BT's equivalent as of the 12th of December. Full fibre, the most reliable broadband per Ofcom. Terms vodafone.co.uk/broadband.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connecting, please wait. Bluetooth connected.
So they just want to see the job out. They could get another one. It's almost like utopia for them. So they'll just do what they did in the first half and look for another opportunity. But it's down to Arsenal now to break down this new
second leg of this one, live on TalkSport in the first week of February. Saliba lays it back towards David Raya. A lot of water's got to go under the bridge between now and then. Raya driving it along the edge of his penalty area. It's flicked on over on the right-hand side by Trossard. Arsenal get the bodies chasing after it, but Dan Burns able to guide it back, and it's cleared by Dubravka, ineffectively straight out of play for an Arsenal throw.
Well, you say cleared. I think he tried to play it out, but he didn't look good at all there. Put it straight out of play.
Arsenal taking the throw quickly. Back it goes for Trossard, and his ball back behind square fell Isak's way for a moment. In the second half here on TalkSport and also on Sirius XM FC right across North America. Very good afternoon to you if you're listening to us in the States or Canada today. It's Lewis Skelly plays the ball down towards Declan Rice, coming in off the left-hand side for Arsenal. Back from him to Martinelli. Lewis Skelly again. Now on the left for Arsenal is Gabriel, and Lewis Skelly's got it once more. Arsenal just threading the passes together at the moment. Newcastle defending diligently, stopping the spaces and forcing Arsenal to go from one side of the field to the other.
Yeah, they're making sure that the units are very close together. No big gaps appear. But Tonali keeps coming out, doesn't he, to young Lewis Skelly, and then he just leaves a little space behind him, and Arsenal need to get that ball into Ødegaard more often in that little pocket of space.
There's Lewis Skelly again for Arsenal, back inside his own half. The play pretty much exclusively concentrated in this second half in Newcastle United territory. They lead 1-0 with Isak's goal 7 minutes before half-time, his 15th of the season. Thomas Partey guarding it forward. Got it between the lines there for Ødegaard, but he couldn't get it out from between his feet quickly enough. Jolinton wins it back, and now Newcastle will bring it forward. 2 against 2 just for a moment. Willock with a poor ball out towards Isak. It was under hit. That allowed two things. Firstly, Arsenal to get bodies back goal side, and it stopped Isak being able to come forward and pick up possession. So Arsenal get it forward again quickly. Havertz.
Let-off was a let-off because Isak there's touch was poor, and he doesn't look nearly as quick going back the way.
Martinelli picking it up inside the penalty area, trying to clip it in. Just took a deflection and dipped over the head of Ødegaard, and it's cleared. Arsenal pick it up once more with Saliba on the edge of the centre circle. Forward from him to Partey. Thomas Partey out towards the Gunners' right for Timber. His ball in's taking a deflection, and Newcastle are going to be able to bring it away. Lewis Skelly just stepped away from a potential 50-50 there against Willock, and just to make sure that he got back into position so that if he lost it, they couldn't get past him. He's playing the percentages there. Newcastle can bring it forward, but Arsenal got their shape back behind the ball. Livramento finding Sandro Tonali. Tonali back for Botman, and he gets it straight back again. And his blue boots just working it forward here towards Isak. Out towards the Newcastle United right for Murphy. Led with the edge of the penalty area. Rolled inside the box for Isak. Across the face of goal and bundled in for 2-0. Anthony Gordon takes the acclaim. Newcastle in dreamland. A competition they've never won, but they will now feel that they've got a foot in another final.
Well, again, that man Isak in the build-up, different class. He comes off the feet to receive the ball. It's done on the right-hand side. Look, he just wanders in the little pocket of space, and then everyone else then, he runs off the ball. Nobody picks him up. He gets away. He's got no right to get his shot off, and the keeper parries it into the path of Gordon, who reacts, brilliantly, to be honest. The speed at which he gets to it, gets it with his left foot, and Timber just can't get the tackle in, but it's all from Isak. I'm not sure it was actually going in on target, but Raya has to make the save, and that is an emphatic finish from Gordon.
Just got in there before Timber gambled on the goalkeeper, spilling it out to his right-hand side. Raya beaten again. Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 2. And they've scored 7 minutes before half-time and 7 minutes after it. 2-0 they lead. Away from home against a side who haven't lost here since April. And now, really, an opportunity for the Gunners to exhibit all of their skills.
They're going to have to go for it. And then the thing is, they can leave more space behind, and Isak's really in the mood tonight. He's shown his class here.
Goal and an assist for the prolific Swedish international.
Yeah, I think Gordon as well. Gordon is thinking to himself, something will happen. I'll be able to get in here somehow.
Left-footed effort from Ødegaard, and that's been blocked. Goes out of play for a corner. It's the first that Arsenal have won in the second half. Half the deficit here. It will feel like a very different game. Rice coming across to take it.
Yeah, again, they're very brave. Byrne getting in the way of that one. Rice heads it down to Ødegaard. Nothing clean for Arsenal right now.
So Rice spots the ball down. Arsenal with their usual setup. Lewis Skelly near the edge of the D. Rice taking the corner. Every other outfield player is inside the penalty area. Most of them deep at the far post. Rice firing it in. Dubravka just got his right fist to it to get it away. Tonali can help it further outside the box. And Gordon will be able to put his foot on it and bring it forward. Hall poking it back. An ill-advised touch. Back it comes in from Timber. Half cleared by Livramento. Newcastle might be able to break quickly. And it's another great touch to bring Murphy into it on the right-hand side. But just worked it so cleverly and adeptly round the corner. Isak turning away from Partey, running into trouble, maintaining possession, squeezing it back to Botman. Botman out towards the left-hand side for Newcastle for Hall, and they've played their way through the press very ably there. Hall into the feet of Isak on the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't take it past the Gunners' back line. Rice can turn it away to Ødegaard. That's a lovely touch to get the better of Hall. Now worked out towards the right-hand side for Havertz. Havertz drops his shoulder. He's got past Dan Burn. He's still making his way forward. And Gordon takes one for the team. He'll get a yellow card. That was a cynical challenge.
It was blatant challenge. And I didn't actually think he needed to do that because he's so quick, Gordon. He could have run. Havertz didn't really want to run at him. Just having a replay now, looking at the replay. Yeah, and he's gone straight into him. And Havertz puts his foot across the ball there to protect it, and then look, it takes him out.
So a yellow card for Anthony Gordon, the scorer of the second Newcastle goal, which incidentally was his first ever goal in this competition. A man who netted the winner in a ill-tempered game against Arsenal at St James's Park last season.
There's a real possibility Newcastle could get a third in this game, because Arsenal, when you see Willett running the pace that he has, and Gordon and Isak, it's quite frightening. They're really in the mood here, Newcastle. Opportunity again, wide free kick from Arsenal.
Declan Rice is going to take it, swings it in deep. Dubravka comes out. The flag is up over on the far touchline, and play will now stop. There's an offside flag. Dubravka's claiming he was fouled in coming to meet that anyway. Gabriel walks away and he's just gingerly rubbing his arm. And the offside call from the assistant on the far touchline, Wade Smith, is the correct one.
Yeah, another good header in there. I think it's Byrne again. They're winning those challenges, Newcastle. Showing both sides of the game here. Really good set pieces, but good pace at the top of their team.
So what does Mikel Arteta need to change, Martin?
What needs to change? He needs to get Ødegaard on the ball a whole lot more than he is at the right now. And they need to be more patient in their build-up. And maybe Martinelli, as I said, needs to join Havertz more often, go central, really cause them a problem for Newcastle. At the moment, they're too comfortable.
Martinelli getting it forward towards Murphy. And here's Livramento, 15 yards away from the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Newcastle leading by 2-0 here on TalkSport and Sirius XMFC. Murphy, good ball from him. Tonali can hit it in first time. Goalkeeper's come out. He got a right hand to that, but he diverted it away from Gordon this time. And Timber's going to be able to bring it away. We play 56 minutes. Raya getting it forward. This season, Arsenal have won as many games as they've lost when they've gone 1-0 down. But they need all their powers of resolve again here. 2 down at home to Newcastle, making their way forward with Declan Rice. Martinelli towards the edge of the penalty area. He'll cut back onto his right foot, then his left. Drives it forward. Doesn't win the corner that perhaps he was going for. Comes back out for Thomas Partey. Now Gabriel. Gabriel 10 yards outside the box. Partey's got it again.
No way through. Really good work. I mean, as well as they've played out without the ball, with the ball, look how difficult they are to get through.
Partey trying to edge the ball to his right-hand side. And he found Joe Linton. He couldn't control it. And Arsenal have it back. They're going to make a double change in a moment. Jorginho and Jesus.
Well, they need him. Look where Havertz is. He's in the midfield. You've got Rice is playing on the top line. The highest player.
Havertz playing it back out towards the Arsenal right-hand side again, where Trossard's looping cross comes in for Havertz, who's headed it wide. Another gilt-edged chance. And Havertz walks into the net and bends down. He grasps the net. He looks to the floor, then to the heavens in frustration. He'd done everything right, except steer a header between the sticks from 4 yards out.
Well, it comes off the defender. It just skies it. We talked about him coming from deep, and he hits his shoulder, misses his head, and then just goes inches wide. I mean, gets any kind of contact on that with his head, it's a goal.
So the change will see Partey and Trossard off, and Jorginho and Jesus will come on. So Jorginho will take Partey's role. Gabriel Jesus, you would imagine, will play through the middle. And a big ovation for Jesus, who got the goals that got them here. That 27-minute hat-trick in the quarter-final against Crystal Palace. Has won this competition twice. He once scored 4 in the first leg of a League Cup semi-final. Just 3 will do for Arsenal tonight. 59 gone. Newcastle leading it 2-0. Isak on 38. And Gordon on 51.
And at the moment, this is a real statement victory, isn't it? To win 2-0, if they can do this at the Emirates. I mean, and their confidence will be massively dented. So they need to get these substitutions are really important. They come on and make a difference.
Willock's got it. Willock scything his way forward. Man have made nearly 80 appearances for Arsenal. And just blatantly pushes Gabriel to the ground. Free kick that Arsenal will look to take quickly, and Murphy stands right over the ball to stop that happening. He's lucky to escape a yellow card. Arsenal get it forward towards Martinelli. Back from him to Jorginho. And Jorginho's played in finals of this competition before. Out to the Gunners' right-hand side, where it's laid off by Havertz. Havertz now playing on the right with Jesus through the middle, Martinelli on the left, Jorginho playing it out towards Kai Havertz again. And he drops his shoulder, he'll take on Lewis Hall. Now he's level with the edge of the penalty area, then checks back, worked for by Jorginho. That's not a bad ball, inside the 6-yard box, can't quite fall Rice's way, and then as it bobbles off him, goes behind Dubravka, it's cleared away by Dan Burn. Wouldn't have counted though, flag was up, and it's a free kick to Newcastle.
No, looks like he's an offside there, flag's up quite early. Havertz going out onto that right-hand side. Just looking at the ball coming in, I'm not sure he is offside, in all honesty. Looking back at it, I think VAR would have overruled that. And in the end, it's a really good block. But look at those Newcastle players throwing themselves. I think there's Livramento gets a little flick on it. Goalkeeper, for some reason, kicks it away. Maybe he could have gone with his hands. And there's Botman to make the clearance.
Arsenal in possession inside their own half. It's on this Spurs. Liverpool's got a bit to live up to tomorrow night. That's this time tomorrow, right here on TalkSport, an 8 o'clock kickoff. And the build-up starts at 7. Thursday night, FA Cup starts. Third round action from Goodison, Everton against Peterborough. And then Friday, an all-Premier League clash between Aston Villa and West Ham United. These two both in an FA Cup action Sunday. We've got both games for you. The Newcastle-Bromley game is over on TalkSport 2. Arsenal Manchester United here, and exclusive to national radio on TalkSport, 3 o'clock here on TalkSport Sunday afternoon. Here and now, Newcastle lead 2-0. Ball played forward towards Martinelli. Chested down by Declan Rice. Rice to his right-hand side. Jorginho will be able to bring it forward. And now Gabriel's got it. Still plenty of time here for Arsenal. But Newcastle have seen this night unfold almost as an image of perfection. Gabriel's ball in. Little flick from Rice. And then a chest from Byrne, which would have gone wide. But Dubravka throws himself at it anyway and prevents the corner.
Interesting, Jorginho's come on. Maybe that the manager just feels that he can find that little pass, that little bit of vision that maybe Partey couldn't. They were losing patience in the build-up, and he's put him on. And he's made 1 or 2 already. That switch pass didn't work, but he set up the chance they just recently had. So maybe he brings a bit of a difference. Jesus and Havertz are just flip-flopping. One's central, one's wide, and they just keep rotating between the two of them. Jesus down the middle right now.
Arsenal made a double change, as you know, and Newcastle are going to make a triple change in a moment, I think. Harvey Barnes is being spoken to now by Eddie Howe. So Arsenal bring the ball forward. It's Declan Rice. The angle was difficult for him. He had 2 retreating Newcastle defenders. He's fired it in off Willock and out of play for another corner.
Been impressed with Willock, a player out of the Arsenal Academy there, matching Rice for pace. He doesn't just run quickly forward, he runs quickly back. I think a couple of substitutions here. Eddie wants to shut this game down.
So Barnes will be coming on. We're also going to see Longstaff and Kelly. But the corner will be taken first. Now, while Arsenal are going to take it, David Raya's been called over, and he's having a word with Mikel Arteta, some 70 yards away from his goal. In comes the corner from Rice, and it's headed across the face of goal and wide. Good first contact. Jesus climbing high, but his header didn't trouble the goal. And now the triple change will be made by Newcastle. We're going to see Willock come off. So Longstaff will be on to replace him. Kelly's going to be coming on as well, with Murphy coming off. So realistically, it's going to be Barnes for Murphy. And is it going to be Kelly for Botman? Certainly concerns about Sven Botman's workload, but it is going to be Isak. So Barnes for Isak. So that's an interesting change.
Well, clearly he just wants to shut this down. I wonder if they'll actually put an extra defender in there at the back. You know what Harvey Barnes can do as well, can't he, on the counter-attack? Good pace about him also. Murphy done exceptionally well.
Yeah, so they're going to make it a 5, and Kelly will play on the left of the 3 centre-halves, with Byrne in the middle and Botman on the right. Livramento and Hall still at wing-back. And it looks as though it's going to be Anthony Gordon who's been asked to go through the middle, with Barnes going over to the left. So that appears to be how Newcastle have shuffled things around. Plenty for you to get your teeth into later tonight on the Sports Bar, incidentally, on 3717 22 33 44. Arsenal fans, what have you made of this performance? And Newcastle fans, taking anything for granted if you win this 2-0. Is that job done? Here's Declan Rice bringing it forward. Into the feet on the edge of the penalty area of Jesus. It was actually Saliba that had that last chance rather than Jesus. Arteta is furious. He felt as though his man was fouled on the edge of the penalty area. Newcastle get it away and bring it forward quickly. And Arteta is still chuntering about it. His mood will be slightly softened by the fact that the counter-attack came to nothing. And it's gone out of play for an Arsenal throw. For a Newcastle throw, sorry. But Arteta was absolutely adamant that They should have had a free kick about 20 yards from goal there as Jesus went down.
Yeah, Longstaff looks like a bump on him. Referee having none of it.
Tino Livramento to take this throw for Newcastle. 20 minutes into the second half there. Just letting the clock run down as best they can. Tonali pokes it forward. Misdirects it. Lewis Skelly's then fouled by Gordon. Free kick taken quickly. Gordon renews his acquaintance with assistant referee Ian Hussin, who did find against him there. He didn't for one late in the first half for what we thought was a foul on Trossard right in front of him. Here's Martinelli, led with the edge of the penalty area, trying to hook it in, left-footed. Dubravka caught underneath it, but it's swept away at the far post and goes out for an Arsenal throw.
That's what Martinelli has to do. No hesitation, take your opponent on. Sometimes he seems like he's a bit fearful. Use your pace, your strength.
And the Gunners have got it down by the far corner flag. Erdegaard trying to hook it in, but as he looks up, all he can see is a sea of black and white around him. And Joelinton has done well to help get it away. Arsenal try to win it back, and the fans on the far touchline are up in arms about Newcastle's attempts to wrestle possession back. Arsenal have got it with Rice finding Lewis Skelly. It's 2-0 to Newcastle midway through the second half. Martinelli, Lewis Skelly, across the edge of the 6-yard box, coming onto it. It was Jorginho. Set up for him again. Martinelli teed himself up, but then fires an effort over the junction of post and bar.
This is a huge gamble from Eddie Howe to make the changes that he has, because Arsenal looking so much better since they've gone to Newcastle have gone to a back three, but they're getting bodies in the way. Martinelli flicks that one up in the end. It's a ball whipped across initially. Just somebody gets the bodies. They're throwing. I think it's Joelinton. Tonali gets in the way of it. But it's inviting Arsenal on, and they don't quite have the same pace on the counter-attack with Isak having gone off.
Well, make sure you listen to TalkSport Breakfast every morning this week from 6. They'll be bringing you some of the best build-up to the weekend's FA Cup third round. On Thursday, you're going to hear from Everton's Ashley Young and his son Tyler. They'll be on together ahead of what could be a dream game for the family as Everton meet Peterborough later that evening live on TalkSport. Then Friday breakfast, Alan Brazil and Ray Parra will be speaking to Salford City boss Carl Robinson, how he plans to create a historic cup upset against Manchester City. All to come on TalkSport Breakfast from 6 every day this week. Here's Rice inside the penalty area, gets to the byline, pulls it back off Longstaff and goes out of play for another Arsenal corner. They're racking up and they're causing Newcastle some problems, but they haven't been able to halve the deficit yet.
Yeah, and you're seeing some inspiration from Declan Rice, showing a bit of character, trying to get forward. He's forced wide there, and again, Tonali does a really good job defensively, just covering in front of his defence.
Rice runs his hand through his black hair before preparing to take this corner. And just moves forward and just adjusts the placement of the ball on the corner quadrant. Raises his left arm again, swings it in towards the near post, and it was a good shout from Dubravka to Livramento to leave it, because there was too much whip on the ball and it just goes into the side netting at the near post and innocuously out of play for a goal kick. Just over 20 minutes to go.
I think Declan Rice is angry with himself there. He just needs to compose himself, take the time on that delivery. Instead, he puts it into the side netting.
2-0, Newcastle lead it. And Dubravka again, testing the patience of the referee. Getting it forward quickly. Gordon trying to make life difficult for Gabriel. Timber picks up the loose ball, goes back for Raya, sticks his foot through it immediately. Burn stumbles as he goes back, but Botman got it away from Jesus. Lewis Skelly can bring the ball down very neatly, firstly on his chest and then on his left foot. Plays it back towards Gabriel's 10 yards inside his own half. Arsenal, who are 20 minutes away from a first home defeat in 18 games and 8 months. Trailing here by 2-0.
Interesting putting in Kelly on, isn't it? A player with not much experience, or someone that he really believes in. He was at Bournemouth, of course, as a young player. I was somebody that I earmarked for. He was going to have a really good career. There's certainly a lot of pressure on him now.
Lewis Skelly bringing it forward. Declan Rice has got it. Turning away, plays it out to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Timber for Havertz. His ball in, hits Burn. Odegaard is in there trying to get it away. He can't. And Harvey Barnes will bring it forward for Newcastle. The counter-attack fizzled out within a matter of seconds. And Arsenal bring it forward again with Rice. Martinelli. Faced up by Livramento. Takes him on the outside. Livramento slides in and wins the corner. It's interesting you talk about Lloyd Kelly. Signed by Newcastle. He's only started one of the last 15 Premier League games. So very much out of favour. And Botman's been injured for nearly all of that period. So a big chance for him to shine tonight.
Well, the game's changed since he took those players off because it's just inviting Arsenal on. Are Arsenal good enough to score? Can they break them down? They're inspired at the moment back there. Has to be a better delivery from this corner from Declan Rice.
Last one, straight into the side netting. Again, raises his left arm above his head, gives the signal. It is a better delivery. Dubravka comes out, paddles it away. Brought down by Lewis Skelly, who's the last man back for Arsenal, the outfield players. He was still only 10 yards outside the penalty area. Lays it back for Raya. There was then just a little coming together off the ball between Jorginho and Gordon. Just a few words between the pair of them. Gordon's got the ball now in the midfield. Lays it back for Longstaff, who wanted a little bit too long. Lewis Skelly then puts Gordon on the ground off the ball. Tonali leading the counter-attack, finds Barnes. Now Barnes with an opportunity to run and then stumbles inside the penalty area. And Saliba's going to be able to bring it away. Harvey Barnes on the counter-attack, has pace and can be electrifying.
Well, I think he kicked the ground there, didn't he? Fell over his own feet. Bizarre.
Martinelli's got it. Miggy Almiron's going to be coming on for Newcastle presently.
Just a feature of those corners. Dubravka, you don't see the goalkeeper getting so much room. Normally, they put somebody on the keeper, and Dubravka's had so much space tonight to come and take those crosses.
Rice with an excellent crossfield ball brings Kai Havertz into it. Havertz trying to wriggle his way past Hall, clipped over the top by Jorginho, and now comes Dubravka. The ball, or the root of the ball, back to the goalkeeper, protected by Botman. And Dubravka has the ball in his hands. Again, just testing the patience of the referee. Gets back to his feet now. I think he was claiming he just picked up a knock. And he's going to be able to continue. So Almiron's still waiting. He's had his final instructions. Kieran Trippier has also been out warming up, but is now back on the Newcastle bench, putting his coat back on. So I don't think his arrival is imminent. Saliba back inside his own penalty area, trying to turn away from Gordon. Raya will work it forward out of the penalty area, and Declan Rice has got it again. Rice just edging the ball away from his international teammate Anthony Gordon. Back for Saliba. Jorginho can bring it forward towards halfway. He'll now venture into Newcastle territory, but the pass goes back behind square. Gabriel coming forward, stopping, checking, and then working it cleverly between the lines for Lewis Skelly. Longstaff comes in, nicks the ball away from him. Tonali then gets it clear of Jorginho. Jolinton goes down, won cleanly though the ball by Gabriel. He plays it out towards the far side. Hall intercepts, very nearly lost it to Havertz. Beautifully turns away under pressure and finds Tonali, and then Byrne will play it out, and Kelly can work it down the far touchline for Newcastle United. Hall did very well there.
Well, they're scrapping, aren't they, Newcastle? You know, if there's a boxing match, they're trying to hold on to their opponent and them not letting go. There's a real determination, and Arsenal are matching that. Now, free kick, Jolinton. He uses his body so well, doesn't he? Jolinton, you don't know if he's fouling or being fouled. And he's not going to get up in a rush. He's really going to take his time here. There's a substitution taking place as well.
Newcastle will be grateful for a little breather. The change is going to see Anthony Gordon ushered off the field. He was reluctant, and certainly reluctant to break into a trot. He turns and applauds the Newcastle fans. Way to our right-hand side, gets a standing ovation from 6,000 as he leaves the field. It's his first ever League Cup goal. Has given Newcastle United a 2-0 advantage here. Miggy Almiron is on to replace him. The man who's due a goal, his last one coming back in 2023. So Almiron on to replace Gordon, and that is Newcastle's fourth change.
Well, that second goal of his puts a real dent, doesn't it, in any aspirations of Arsenal's of winning this Cup competition. And can Newcastle now start dreaming maybe about winning a trophy, a domestic trophy? Haven't won a domestic trophy in over 70 years.
Yep, 1955, the last time they won it. The FA Cup, that was. This the 70th anniversary of that. 1969, they won the Fairs Cup. They won the FA Cup back in the early 50s in 1955. It was the third time they won it in 5 years. Nobody could possibly at that stage have conceived the long wait that would follow for more domestic silverware to come. Here's Jorginho to his right-hand side for Saliba. Saliba back. And Gabriel's got it. Every Arsenal player bar David Raya in Newcastle territory. 13 minutes of this first leg to go. Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 2, with Isak and Gordon, the men on target either side of half-time. The Gunners will bring it forward again with Jorginho. Jesus making a run for him, right-hand side of the penalty area. Burn goes with him, shepherds the ball over the line, and out of play. He's just bundled over by Jesus, who made a genuine attempt to win it. Burn stands firm.
Well, it's two banks of 5 now, isn't it? From a Newcastle point of view. Nobody up the top of the pitch, really. Just tucked in. Arsenal making a substitution.
Where Zinchenko's going to come on for Lewis Skelly.
Yeah, I think he's looking at the prospect. Can he thread a pass? Zinchenko, with that extra experience that he has. He's a fullback in name only. He's going to go and play in that middle. It's so congested out on that pitch.
Zinchenko, twice a winner of this competition back in his Manchester City days. He's only scored 1 League Cup goal. It did come in a semi-final. Opportunity for Arsenal to get it forward again with Jorginho. Little 1-2. Has it in Newcastle territory. 12 to go. 2-0 to the tune. Jorginho. Gabriel. Working down towards the left-hand side for Martinelli. Zinchenko has come on. He's almost playing as an inside left. As one of a split 10, really. Ødegaard to Jorginho. Back it comes between the two centre-halves again. Gabriel working down towards Zinchenko. Quick turn from Zinchenko, which saw Almiron stumble. Jorginho from a central position opens it up and goes back out to the left. Martinelli firing it in deep. Joelinton heads it away from the penalty spot. Tonali is first to it, and then will try and bring it forward. Ends up going to ground, and the referee says no foul. I think even the Arsenal players are expecting a free kick to go against them there.
Well, Tonali, the referee judged him to dive there. Interesting one.
Eddie Howe is not happy at all about that.
Well, Arsenal just leaving 2 players at the back, so it's almost like a 10v8. Here we go.
Ball chipped over the top inside the 6-yard box. Dubravka again can gratefully pounce on it as Jorginho found Havertz, but he just drove it back into that congested 6-yard box, and Dubravka was first to it.
He's played a few of those, Jorginho, looping passes over the top, and he's waiting for that runner. It's almost a very difficult ball for Havertz to have to then get on the end of. Looking good for their money here, Newcastle.
65-35 the possession in Arsenal's favour. That's over the game as a whole. It's been much more marked in the Gunners' favour in the last 10 minutes or so. Newcastle just sitting in unashamedly, but so good on the counter-attack. One comes their way, a third goal wins it. And Joelinton, as the ball was played forward there, was fouled by Zinchenko. Knew the danger of letting Newcastle get forward on the counter-attack, and Zinchenko gets a yellow card.
Yeah, and Joelinton knows there. I mean, he's done brilliantly well there. If he gets just a touch on that, he's going to be receiving a challenge anytime soon, and he makes evasive action. I think he's okay, but again, he doesn't race to his feet, and nor should he. I'm just going to see out the time here. I think it's quite infuriating. There's a lot of Arsenal fans now who've seen enough. I mean, if it stays 2-0, this is quite an emphatic win. It's going to be very difficult from an Arsenal point of view to get back into this round. Newcastle have been absolutely magnificent tonight, and I think Eddie Howe, if he was to win this might be one of his finest hours, to come here, an Arsenal team in really good form, second in the table, and tactically it's worked really well for them so far.
And what they have been able to do is limit Arsenal pressure. They've had so much of the ball in the second half, Arsenal, but they haven't had a shot on target in the second period. And that will be a source of immense frustration as far as Mikel Arteta is concerned. I think Newcastle fans thought that they got a corner there. They all cheered as one. But the referee said it's a throw, went just the other side of the corner flag. A throw taken. And Arsenal quickly win it back. Get it back to Raya. The flag came up from the assistant referee on the near touchline. Play's allowed to go on. And Arsenal will bring it forward. Newcastle, as Marty was saying, just defending in 2 banks of 5. It is 5-5-0 they're playing here. And Arsenal pushing bodies forward. And they're almost playing 5-3-2.
I think I once saw a Scottish team do this under Craig Levein many years ago, and that was from the off. And they're 2-0 up here, Newcastle. So I understand in this situation.
Zinchenko getting it forward. Havertz drilling it in. And the ball hits Sven Botman, goes out of play for a corner. Just about enough time to... I'll tell you about a conversation I once had, going back 30 years, with Ray Harford, the late Ray Harford, former West Brom manager, who played 4-5-1 before it was fashionable. And we said, how do you think football's going to develop tactically? He said, I'd love it to go 4-6-0. He said, I'm just not brave enough to do it. He said, what do the centre-halves do if you're defending against a 4-6-0? They just wouldn't know where to be. He thought it was a really attacking, bold thing, but he said he's just not brave enough to do it. 5-5-0 for Newcastle today. They're 2-0 up. It's another Arsenal corner. She's going to come in off the left flank. Floated in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Travelled a long way. Might come back Jesus' way. Livramento's there to scramble it clear, and they'll do it all again.
It's almost like a scrum at that near post. I've never seen so many bodies.
Corner count up into double figures. This one works short. Zinchenko fires it in. Cross deflected. Comes out for Jesus. And Gabriel hangs his head as he fires it over the bar on the turn. Straight out of play for a goal kick. 7 to go here. Newcastle leading 2-0. Full time at Wickham. Ian Abrahams.
Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1. Herbie Kane's first time volley wins it for the Terriers, who moved to within 4 points of the top 2. Backinson came closest for Wickham, hitting the bar in the second half. 15 unbeaten now for Huddersfield. Wickham 0, Huddersfield 1.
That's just the second defeat in 23 league games for Wickham. And as Moose was saying, 4 points off the top 2, and they've got a game in hand on both Wickham and Wrexham. Birmingham have played the same number of games. A big result for Huddersfield there tonight. 2-0 here. This will be a monumental result for Newcastle United if they can hold the 2-goal lead that they've got right now. Jorginho. Ball goes out towards the Arsenal right. Play back towards Saliba. Jorginho again. Now Gabriel can bring it forward. We've got 6 minutes plus fair bit of stoppage time to be added on. You probably think maybe another 6. So it's only 11-12 minutes of playing time left for Arsenal here. Martinelli coming off the left flank, right footed, curves it inside the box. Another header away from Botman, then away by Joelinton, then a shove on Tonali. And it's a free kick. Newcastle on the edge of their own penalty area, and Jesus' frustration's got the better of him there.
Well, just waiting for a replay. Tonali, I think, really good use of his body. To be fair, Martinelli's the one player that is still trying to create from an Arsenal point of view. I think that's a silly challenge from Jesus. Doesn't need to do that. This might well be one of Eddie Howe's finest hours here as a coach. He's got the resources here at this football club. Of course, he had an amazing start, didn't he, when he first went there, as took over from a Steve Bruce team that hadn't won in 12 games at the start of that season. I think he finished 11th. Incredibly made the top 4, and maybe their Champions League got in the way a little bit, but they're on the march here. What will this be, 7 wins on the bounce?
Yeah,
in all comps.
That's the first time they'll have done that since 2016, when they had that promotion season in the Championship. Won 9 in a row that season, but 7.
Well, you can't compare the Championship, can you, to what they're doing now? I mean, it's going to another level. I mean, Arsenal were 13 games unbeaten here before tonight. This could really dent Arsenal's season.
Timber inside the centre circle. Plays it back for Saliba. Rice can take it on, and he's got away from Almiron, who just came back, flicked it away. Referee waited just to see how play was going to develop. Rice was furious that a free kick wasn't given his way, but it was about a second and a half later.
Well, Almiron's not complaining. He knows he's made the foul there. Rice charging with the ball. Yeah, just catches his right leg. Almiron just coming off the bench. Maybe not up to speed yet. It's going to be another ball in the box. Left-hand side, Ødegaard going to whip this one in.
And again, nearly everybody is for. Jorginho isn't. But everybody else is. Ødegaard trying to find some space. And it was cleared at the second attempt by one of the Newcastle defenders. I think it was Longstaff who was in there that was able to take the responsibility.
Well, it was a poor ball in.
Zinchenko sliding it down the left-hand touchline, level with the edge of the penalty area. Martinelli's got it forward. Jesus clipping it into the danger. Jorginho! Oh, he struck that well. He's gone over the bar. Just brilliant strike from Jorginho. 20 yards out, and he hit it with absolutely brutal venom. And it beat everybody, including the bar.
Yeah, half volley. Jorginho. Again, that's cue for another load of Arsenal fans to leave. Maybe they've seen enough tonight. 86 minutes. Hasn't been able to make that much of a difference, has he, Jorginho? Good opportunity for him there.
Yeah, his last goal in open play was here. Back in 2019, he was a Chelsea player at the time. Got a fair few penalties since then, but due one from open play as David Raya's got it inside the 6-yard box. We're in the 88th minute, and it's 2-0 to Newcastle. Zinchenko plays it back for Raya. Raya side foots it, knocks it out of the edge of the penalty area. Tottenham-Liverpool tomorrow night, this time tomorrow, in the first leg of that semi-final. Newcastle very much in charge of this one. 2-0 up away from home in the dying embers of this game. Rice will play it forward. Martinelli's got it, coming in off the left flank. Your chance to react on the sports bar, 03717 223344. Lines are open right now. It's Saliba.
I think it's important tactically that Newcastle have forced Arsenal wide and not allowed them to come through the middle of the pitch.
Martinelli can get the ball inside the penalty area. Dan Burn, the tallest man on the pitch, comes back, heads it away. Jorginho's got it again.
Good play for Martinelli. You have to say he's still going for it.
Martinelli's got it again. Back towards Rice. Rice with a shot that cannons away off Tonali. Goes out of the right-hand side of the penalty area for Jesus. Quick little 1-2 between him and Saliba. Gabriel almost perennially forward now around the penalty spot, but they just can't find the deliveries to bring him into play.
They need a goal, don't they? They need a goal to keep this tie alive.
Havertz back for Ødegaard. Ødegaard's got it again. To his left-hand side is William Saliba. Ødegaard, left-footed ball in towards the near post. Gabriel beaten to it by Botman.
Really good header from Botman there.
Comes back out for Rice. Rice in a central position. He's 30 yards out. On the corner of the penalty area, Jesus to Havertz. Havertz twisting one way, then going back the other, flicking it with his left foot to Martin Ødegaard. Ball inside the penalty area from him, flicked on by Rice, and Havertz trying to get in there, couldn't really, and it just loops into the hands of Martin Dubravka. And will only be about 30 seconds away from stoppage time by the time he's got the ball upfield. It's 2-0 to Newcastle on what is set to be a famous night for the Toon.
Well, yeah, but we've got extra time here as well, but you can't really see a goal coming from an Arsenal point of view. Well, credit to Eddie Howe. I questioned the tactics a little bit, took Isak off 65 minutes, made 3 substitutions, went to a back 3 or back 5 as it's become, and with 5 in front, and just denied space to Arsenal, and they haven't had enough quality to get past them. Here they are on the break.
Almiron making his way forward. Now the offside flag might come up against him. Academic in the end because his control was so poor. Zinchenko could mop up. Then the flag does come up, and we restart with a free kick on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area as we go into 5 added minutes. Declan Rice in possession. Arsenal trailing 2-0. And Gabriel Martinelli bringing the ball forward. Finding Rice again. Rice threading it into the feet on the edge of the penalty area for Gabriel Jesus. It's half cleared. Zinchenko just plays the way that he's facing back outside the box for Jorginho. Now out to Jurien Timber. Arsenal still inside the Newcastle United penalty area. Jesus laying it back. High ball in. Livramento heads it away. Gets it back outside the box again. Might only be temporary respite though. Zinchenko back in for Martinelli. His ball in. Taking a little flick. Then Lewis Hall is there to volley away. Back in from Timber. That one volley clear. Over on the far side by Barnes for an Arsenal throw.
They dealt really well, Newcastle, Jim, to allow me to get in. They just, honest, food and drink for them. Headers into the box. They're just getting everything on the end of it. Livramento, Tonali in front. That's been a real plus for them, really. His defensive brain's been fantastic for them tonight.
Rice threaded in towards Jesus, who will try and turn, but in doing so, his touch just takes him back outside the penalty area again. 3.5 minutes of stoppage time to go. Plenty of empty red seats around now. Newcastle leading 2-0. None of the travelling Toon Army have left. Ball on the right-hand side of the box. One back for the Gunners. Certainly keeps it interesting going into the second leg. A massive difference between a 2-0 win and a 2-1 win. Arsenal have barely been kept out all season.
Well, this will be interesting. It's a corner, isn't it? And there's been quite a few personnel changes. Maybe this makes Newcastle even stronger, though, from set pieces. We'll have to see. Delivery has to be good.
Well, this time it's a left-footed in-swinging corner from the Gunners' right-hand side. Zinchenko waiting on the edge of the penalty area. Flicked on at the near post by Rice, but cleared. Back out to that far touchline. Fired in again, taking a touch off Timber's head. Should bounce Gordon's way. Hall's way, I beg your pardon. Cleared, knocked away from him. Zinchenko's got it. Zinchenko just outside the penalty area, pulling it back for Declan Rice. 2.5 to go, 2-0 to Newcastle. Ball headed out to the far touchline where Kelly will put his foot on the ball and clear it away from Martin Ødegaard towards halfway. That allows Newcastle's back five the opportunity to push outside the penalty area, but they might not be too far outside it for too long, because Arsenal will bring it forward again. Ødegaard trying to get away from Barnes. Arsenal fans in front of us urging the man in possession just to put the ball inside the penalty area. Timber tries to oblige, can't find Rice. That's clear by Almiron. Out as far as Jorginho. For the last 25 minutes of this game, it has just been like a training ground exercise. Attack against defence, phase after phase. Defence on top. Now the ball comes in again, deep towards the far post, headed down by Gabriel. Longstaff critically won the seconds, got it away from the penalty spot now for a throw.
He did. Longstaff reads that really well, realises his colleague's in trouble and heads the headed ball down. He's onto it first. Typical, really, of the way that Newcastle have defended tonight.
Rice on the edge of the penalty area to Martinelli. Martinelli will come in off the left flank, clips it in. Something for Havertz to try and attack. Joelinton is there. Tonali is there. Newcastle get it outside their penalty area. Longstaff struggling to maintain possession, but Almiron knocks it off Zinchenko, and it goes out for a Newcastle throw. And we go into the 5th and potentially final minute of added time, and now the exodus really starts in earnest. No Newcastle player is showing anything less than full reluctance to come across and take a throw. Livramento will be the man that will take the responsibility. This will go, you would imagine, down the line. He gets a yellow card for time wasting. That won't bother him one iota. He doesn't really get any purchase on the header, on the throws. He tries to hurl it forward. The ball slipped out of his hands and Arsenal win it back. But they've only got 30 seconds left. 2-0 down, the Gunners. Ball played forward. Botman heads it away. Ricochets then back off Livramento. Big shout for a handball by Arteta, who raced for a moment down towards the 4th official and then almost, as if his senses got the better of him, decided to stick the brakes on. Arsenal will come forward again. Last phase of attacking play of the game. Rice sending it wide out towards the far touchline. Not the best ball. Comes back towards Jorginho. 5 minutes are up. Newcastle on the verge of a 2-0 win here. Livramento slices it clear outside the box. Martinelli curves it in. Dubravka punches it away. Big cheer from the travelling Newcastle supporters as he does so. That might just about be his last touch in a Newcastle shirt. Play back by the Gunners towards the edge of the penalty area. They've got that one clear as well, and it is a famous, famous win. And the travelling Geordies away to our right-hand side wave their black and white scarves around their heads. And they will feel that tonight potentially has taken them that little bit closer to ending this long, famous, infamous drought as they wait for a trophy. 70 years without any domestic silverware. This only a step in the right direction, but it feels like a very significant one and a big one. It doesn't put them in the final, but it certainly puts one foot at Wembley in the middle of March. A 2-0 win away against an Arsenal side that haven't lost here since last April. It's a monumental victory, one of the greatest of Eddie Howe's managerial career, masterminded by Alexander Isak, who scored 7 minutes before half-time, set up the second for Anthony Gordon, came off. Newcastle resolutely sat back, 5 in defence, 5 in midfield. Arsenal simply couldn't break them down, and they need a miracle if they're going to go through to the final. Newcastle will feel that their 100% record in League Cup semi-finals is going to continue. Big win for the Toon. Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 2.
Well, I think I've just had a message from a Newcastle fan saying that's the best performance ever under Eddie Howe. And they've had some good ones under Eddie. Remember the 4-1 against PSG, but this one, I think tactically, Martin Keown, you just have to respect Eddie Howe for what he's done tonight. He gave them a chance of winning the game, gave Alexander Isak the chance to win them the game, and then defended that 2-goal lead superbly. They worked so hard for it, Newcastle. They showed a lot of quality to go 2 up, then worked really hard to keep it at 2-0. Just after you take your hat off to Eddie Howe and Newcastle tonight.
Well, I think Eddie Howe will be very proud of his players. I mean, their plan was perfectly carried out. The start of the game, they played, we thought it was a counter-attacking game they were coming with, not a bit of it. Passed the ball really well. Isak was a live wire right from the off, his movement, coming short, spinning into channels, the first to react. You could say, you know, they'd done Arsenal their own game, really, set plays. They couldn't unravel them, and it was a set play, long delivery. They win the initial header, I think it was Botman. Isak onto it in a flash. And then the second goal, Isak, the same, good movement, good build-up, front player, plays a pivotal role, goes into the front player, he's moving off the ball. And Eddie's put this plan together, and he takes them all off at 65 minutes. You know, the main players he wants to rest. They're sitting on the bench. They made it look easy. They brought the subs on, and they were almost like they're throwing themselves in front of the block. Two banks of 5. Look, we're 2 up. We've done what we need to do, see the job out, and it was perfect. And there they are now, celebrating with their fans. He didn't over-celebrate. He was quite classy at the end. He'll probably feel this is one of his finest nights as a manager, because tactically, I think he's developing, isn't he? You know, the way he's got it right now in the midfield. Tonali sitting deep. Willock, I thought, was different class tonight. Botman, after being out for 10 months, he's come in, he's headed everything. Quite magnificent. He stayed on the pitch. We thought he might go off. Not a bit of it. Eddie knew he needed him on there. So, you know, hats off to Newcastle and what they've achieved. I know it's only half-time, but it feels like they've at least got 1 foot in the final here tonight.
Yeah, listen, I know only too well the sides can come back having been out of the deficit in the first leg. Just want to reiterate, Botman, he's been out since March, played 89 minutes at the weekend on Saturday, and has played here tonight the full game. How hard is that for a player who's been out that long? A Premier League game and 2 away games as well in London, and he's played both, they've won both. The intensity of that for a player who's been injured for that long, how hard is that?
Oh, it is extremely difficult, but it's important that you've got bodies all around you, and people aren't too far away, and they're so well organised. You know, Tonali, don't underestimate that as a tactical change. This is a manager that said, you know, let's have a rethink. Tonali was sitting on the bench. He couldn't get back. Okay, he'd been out with the gambling issues for such a long time, but who would have thought of putting him in and playing as a deep line midfield player? And it's like a Pirlo role. When tonight it was different for him. He's like Rodri, the way that he's sitting in front. So he knows, Botman knows, look, he's never too far away. No one's going to roll me or come off the feet because I've got him there. And I just thought their balance of their team, the front three, you know, Gordon, he's a nuisance, isn't he? He runs, he doesn't stop running. Murphy, you know, somehow, you know, the 2 Murphy twins were looked at Norwich years ago as being 2 real stars of the making. And now we're only seeing both of them, to be honest, at their 29 years of age. You know, where's that been? Because he played really well tonight, clever role for the team, comes back as a fullback. No, everything first class tonight. Goalkeeper was a bit wobbly, but he got away with it. Arsenal didn't pin him from set plays like they normally do, and I think that played a part in tonight's game because they had so many corners and they didn't have the quality.
Yeah, Dubravka was wobbly at the end, right in front of the Newcastle fans. He was in tears. He knows it's his last game. He's going to be moving in this window. This is going to be it for him. Dan Burn went over, gave him a big hug. They've gone down the tunnel now, but that was emotional from Martin Dubravka. A word on Arsenal, because it didn't go to plan tonight. They've had a long unbeaten run at home as well, Arsenal, so fair play, hats off to them for that. But it's come to a crashing halt tonight, and fans as well leaving on 80 minutes instead of supporting their side. I thought was really strange. I know it's tough to get out of here sometimes, but I thought that was a really odd one with Arsenal pushing for it. What will Arteta be thinking?
Well, this is a major body blow, and it's one of those where, we talked at the start of the game, if he doesn't get what he wants, he'll keep striving for new players. It may accelerate the need to bring somebody in January. Havertz was out with sickness, bug, whatever, for the last 2 games, didn't look himself at all. So that's an area where you could see that glaringly that Isak was everything, really, wasn't he? That Havertz wasn't tonight. I know he's a different type of player. He had a great opportunity, came off his shoulder, then he ghosted into the box. The fact that Arsenal haven't scored here tonight makes it really difficult now to progress in this tournament. They play Manchester United at the weekend. Look, it's a great tonic when United coming into town, but you would have expected to have got something from this tonight. So let's see how they're going to have to lift themselves. There's players in your career, it happened to us as a group. It's a massive bump in the road, this, and then we'll see the character come Sunday, who it is that really up for it. A lot of games in January for Arsenal, and it looks now like hard work for them to get through in this competition.
Last win here for Newcastle was 2010. Generational win for Newcastle this week.
Yeah, more than, I think, 7 generations, because it's been 70 years since they have actually won a domestic trophy. Can they win it this year? Of course, there's another semi-final tomorrow evening. Liverpool will be in town as well against Spurs. So, no, this competition, people saying they don't want to see this competition, but I'll tell you what, it hurts for these Arsenal players tonight, because they were seriously outplayed and they will be hurting badly tonight.
Yeah, we love the Carabao Cup on TalkSport. Martin Keown, been brilliant to have you company this evening. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Really enjoyed it. Spurs Liverpool, as Martin said, tomorrow night. Join me at 7 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for that on TalkSport. Arsenal's unbeaten run comes to an end. Arsenal's fantastic home run comes to an end as well, and it's Newcastle who make it 7 straight wins. Half-time in this semi-final, but the topless Toonami will be booking Wembley hotels already. Tactical masterclass tonight. Eddie Howe, take a bow. You'll hear from him and from Mikel Arteta and maybe a few others on the Sports Bar, which is next. 03717 223344.
Kick off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your football